What's up, YouTube friends? My name is Danny Jones, and welcome to Jones Vibes.
Jones Vibes.
First and foremost, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you enjoy it, please go ahead and hit that like button, and then go ahead and click subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell. That'll keep you up to date when I make more content. And this is the first kind of discussion video that I've posted. Like, this isn't a review, but with just 1 week away from the Batman, I felt like I just wanted to post some sort of hype video for this movie and also break down everything that we know going into it. Because a lot of people out there aren't necessarily like me and have spent the last 2 years of their lives digging into everything that this movie's gonna be about. And there's also probably a lot of people out there that think that they're just going to see another Batman movie. But this one is different. At this point, we've gotten a lot of details about the plot of this film, about how it's gonna feel, and so I'm going to chat about that. There also could be some spoilers. So if you want to go into this thing completely blind, I would suggest checking out right now, because there might be a lot to grapple with. And if you want to walk into this Batcave with me, let's do this thing. So yeah, the Batman is now like a week away, and I will say that this is definitely my most hyped movie of 2022. We got our first trailer for this at DC Fandom in 2020, and I know I don't just speak for myself, that this was one of the best trailers of all time. Like, only 20% of filming had been done before they had to stop filming for the pandemic. And so we got that trailer, and it was only like a quarter of what was gonna be in this movie. And so that all was just mind-blowing. And I just couldn't believe that we were getting a new Batman. And like, my history with Batman is probably pretty familiar to a lot of you. Like I said, I've always identified with the character, and he's pretty much been around my entire life. Like, I grew up with the Burton films and Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, and then moving on to the Joel Schumacher films, which people can say what they want. Those films are awesome. Everybody chill. And that being said, the villains have just always been my favorite. Like, the Rogues Gallery in Batman is just incredible. I think the right word to use would be iconic. Like, Jim Carrey's Riddler was iconic. Heath Ledger's Joker was iconic. And speaking of Heath Ledger and the Nolan films, like, those hit me hard, especially as a teenager. Like, his performance as the Joker had a big impact on my life, and not in like a weird anarchy and chaotic way, but more so from a creative aspect. I couldn't believe that an actor could push themselves that far to where they just disappeared. And his death had a big impact on my life as well. It really carved out this really special place in my heart for The Dark Knight and the Christopher Nolan films. And not to mention Christian Bale. Like, Christian Bale is probably my favorite Batman up until this point. It's kind of like the Daniel Craig, James Bond movies for me. Like, they just hit me at the right point in life. Like, I can go back and watch Michael Keaton's Batman and understand why he's people's favorites, or I could go back and watch Sean Connery as James Bond and understand why he's their favorite if he is anybody's. But for me, Christian Bale, like, he was just the dude. And he had a full trilogy to prove himself. But then, moving forward, we got the Snyderverse, and quite possibly some of the best superhero films of all time. Like, I think that Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Ultimate Edition, it has to be Ultimate Edition, but I think those films are very, very underrated. And then the Snyder Cut of Justice League was just like, whoa. Zack Snyder's vision was incredible. I really wish that it could have carried on, but Warner Brothers just kind of dropped the ball with all that. But I will say that Ben Affleck's Batman, like, we didn't get enough of it, and it made things really confusing because all of us kind of thought that Ben Affleck was gonna direct as well as star in his own Batman film. And so when that fell through and all the controversy at Warner Brothers happened, like, Batman was just kind of in limbo, but there was still this underlying thing that, like, there was gonna be a Batman movie. And so I was kind of just like outside looking in, just like, are they still making a Batman though? I'm still interested to see it. And here we are. Like, when Matt Reeves signed on to this project, I was through the roof. And you can just look at his filmography and you'll know why. And also, you could tell that he was going to bring a very, very interesting feel to this movie. And so now, having seen the trailers and watched so many interviews with him, like, this guy just gets the tone and the atmosphere. Like, he's really created his own Gotham. And he also cares so much about the source material. Like, they've clearly stated that this movie takes a lot of influence from Batman Year One, Batman The Long Halloween, as well as Batman Ego. And I say I'm a massive Batman fan, which I am. I just personally haven't gotten super into the novels as well as the comics. I did recently purchase Batman The Long Halloween, and I got through it, and it was phenomenal. And so if the movie is anything like the tone of that novel, oh my gosh. And so let's just get to the basics of like what this film's gonna be. It's in year 2 of Batman being Batman, and we're gonna get this kind of detective inner monologue, kind of figuring things out, finding himself in the process, and facing a bigger adversary than he ever has. And I guess we haven't really talked about the Batman yet, but we probably should. Robert Pattinson was cast in the role of Bruce Wayne in the Batman. And please, right now, let me know down in the comments what you thought about this casting. There's a ton of people that were like, oh my gosh, it's Edward from Twilight, bro. And truthfully, I wasn't that shocked. If you've been keeping up with his career, you'd know that he's like one of the best actors in the business right now. Matt Reeves has even said that he had Pattinson in mind, like when he was penning the script, as well as Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle. And already seeing those two in the trailers, like their chemistry is crazy. Matt Reeves really knows how to whip them into shape. Catwoman. Paul Dano was cast as the Riddler. And like I said, like, you know, Jim Carrey's Riddler, iconic. So people, when they hear Riddler, they immediately think like dude jumping around in tights. But this take is very dark and very gritty. He's actually based off of the Zodiac. And even with a PG-13 rating, I don't think that Reeves is afraid to push those boundaries a bit. I have a feeling that some of the stuff in this film is gonna feel more like a horror movie. I mean, that's kind of the ground that you're walking when you introduce like a serial killer. But it seems like the Riddler is gonna be sending messages to the Batman, and the Batman detective style is gonna be going throughout the movie and solving these things, and I think a lot of these things are gonna hit home for him. Maybe he's gonna find out some more truth behind his parents and his family history. This isn't an origin story by any means. Like I said, it's year 2 of the Batman. And so we're not gonna be getting that classic alleyway shot with like the pearl necklace, you know, breaking off that every other film does. Instead, we're gonna be getting Bruce Wayne finding more and more out about his past. It seems like Bruce at this point is just enraged. He only wants to be the Batman. Like, he doesn't even know how to be Bruce Wayne anymore. He goes out every night and prowls like a creature. He's somebody that like the criminal underworld actually fears. And we get snippets of this in Batman Begins. Like, it does show people a bit afraid of him, but I think that this movie is gonna push it to that next level. Like, imagine if you were just sitting in an alleyway at night and this big bat thing was like running after you. But yeah, I'm really excited also to explore the relationship between him and Alfred. Like in the comics, he was like formerly special ops and has some connections in the intelligence community, and so I'm excited to see that explored a little bit deeper. And he's also trying to play this like fatherly role that I'm sure Bruce Wayne is just completely pushing back on. I'm just imagining that maybe they don't have the best relationship, and maybe by the end they're starting to kind of form that Alfred and Bruce, you know, relationship that we know so well. Because like I said, Bruce is pretty damaged. Like, he doesn't want to hear anything from anybody. And then you also have Jeffrey Wright, and he's playing Gordon, and this just looks like a different take on Gordon. Him and Batman are going to be working together to kind of solve these mysteries. And we've already seen in some of the trailers that Batman kind of is going up against the police at times, exposing some of the corruption throughout the city. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And I think that Jeffrey Wright's casting was just perfect. And then we also are going to start exploring the Penguin. And Colin Farrell plays the Penguin. The prosthetic for him is insane. I had known that he was cast, and so when they showed him in the first trailer, I was like, that is Colin Farrell. That's crazy. That looks nothing like him. But there's so many people out there that didn't even know that he was in the movie, that probably still don't even know he's in the movie, and they just won't know it's Colin Farrell. Like, I'm sure tons of people are going to go see this opening day and see this guy on screen and be like, is that Al Pacino? And then John Turturro playing Carmine Falcone, which I think that's a perfect casting. He's kind of ruling the underground right now, and we do know that Oswald Cobblepot is running the Iceberg Lounge at this point. It's like a club. Oswald Cobblepot being the Penguin, and so he's not like fully Danny DeVito and has like the penguins marching around and on the ice, but it's already an origin story for him, as well as Selena Kyle's Catwoman. Like, everybody is in their early stage of either their vigilantism or becoming a villain. But that's pretty much my assessment. Just to reinforce, like, I think Bruce Wayne is very, very damaged. He thinks about his parents. That's pretty much his guiding force in life at this point. Like, his parents' death is all he thinks about, and he just wants to go out and beat the crap out of people that are hurting innocent people. He wants to hurt any criminal that he can to somehow feel justified and get some sort of satisfaction because his parents died. And along the way, I think the Riddler is kind of tracking him and knows about him and his history possibly, and is going to reveal some things that are not too cool for Bruce Wayne to find out. I think the Penguin is going to have a little bit to do, but isn't going to be like a main player. Same with Falcone, and I think Selina and Batman's relationship is just going to be like a focal point of this movie. Catwoman kind of trying to figure out whether she is completely on Batman's side and is more good than anything, or maybe she has some kind of bad tendencies, and you'll see kind of the villain glimmer come out a little bit. And then, yeah, the Zodiac Paul Dano Riddler, I can't wait to see what he does. But the last thing I want to bring up, and this could be a spoiler, but Barry Keegan. So it's rumored that he is playing the Joker. And I really doubt that they're going to have him be a main player at all in this film. I think he's just going to kind of be lurking in the shadows. We might get a scene with him, or we might not. But Barry is cast as like an Arkham patient. That's what he's cast as. But there's a lot of rumors right now that he was formerly cast as the Joker. And so with what they did on the prosthetics for the Penguin, I mean, can you imagine what they could do to the Joker and his face and make him like super frightening? Like the comics. So far with all the Jokers that we've just gotten some, some face paint. Heath Ledger had the scars. But can you imagine if they took it like one step further? Because like I was talking about earlier, like the Batman is very much like a monster in this film. And so, I mean, what if they make the Joker so scary that he's hard to even look at? It would just be insane. But yeah, I mean, I know we only have a week left until this film comes out. I am so hyped for the Batman. And yeah, I mean, I mainly just made this video just to kind of get you hyped up for it and maybe make you aware of some things that you weren't aware of. But please, I would love it if you commented on this video and let me know what you're thinking about this movie, if you're hyped about it, if you're not excited for it, if they're doing something that you dislike, or if Robert Pattinson is your favorite actor, just like me. You can hit me on Twitter as well as Instagram. Jones Vibes only is my handle. I hope that some people out there are as hyped as I am because this movie just looks phenomenal. And also, if you got something out of this video, if you've seen my other reviews or you want to watch some other movie reviews, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to build a community over here at Jones Vibes, so I very, very much appreciate your support. But yeah, that is, I'm hyped for the Batman, so I hope everybody out there is safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you in 1 week.